Hello everyone, welcome back to the series where I just basically read off a character's backstory. And in today's video, we'll be talking about Mondstadt's poor but dedicated Hydromancy Astrologer aka Mona. Basically, Mona's a Hydro Catalyst user that excels at either being a very good permafrost Hydro support or just dealing a massive amount of damage equivalent to a nuclear bomb. I really like Mona as a character. She was my first 5-star when I first started playing Genshin. And no, it's not because I lost a 50-50, it was when I got C1 Mona that I lost a 50-50 to her. Hopefully by the end of this video, you will gain a better understanding and a better respect towards her. Well, with that said, let us learn the backstory of the astrologist Mona Magistus. Trivia. Now when it comes to Mona's name, there are multiple possible origins for it. The English name Mona derives from the Gaelic word muad, which means noble. Mona could be an alternative form for Monica in Northern Europe. In Old English, Mona means moon, which could correlate to her being an astrologist, and the most popular one being that Mona's name derives from the Mona Lisa. Mona's constellation is called Astrolabos, which is Latin for the astrolabe. An astrolabe is an ancient astronomical instrument that was a handheld model of the universe. Its various functions also make an elaborate inclinometer and an analog calculation device capable of working out several kinds of problems in astronomy. According to Lisa's voice lines about Mona, Mona is part of the Hexenzirkel, which is a group of witches who conduct Irminsul exploration and gather around for formal tea parties. The only member we know about so far are Mona and Alice. Mona's master could possibly be a member, but we have nothing in-game stating that, so it's left unknown for now. I wonder though, since as the making of this video, we're in version 3.1 which takes place in Sumeru, which means there's a chance that there could be an event in the near future that involves the Hexenzirkel group, since they conduct Irminsul explorations. In one of Mona's idol animations, the constellation she views will randomly be Lepus, which is Amber's constellation, Tempus Fugit, which is Lisa's constellation, or Leo Minor, which is Jean's constellation. Now the last piece of trivia I want to talk about is actually pretty cool. In the Graven Innocence event, there's a decoration item called a wood-carved hat, Diviner, which is modeled after a traveling astrologist in Mondstadt, aka Mona. Now that we're done with the trivia, let us now take a look into Mona's backstory. Character details. Teyvat is a place where people of all sorts go about their business. Merchants move products, knights patrol, and farmers till the land. But if one were to ask Mona, the enigmatic and prideful astrologist, what she busies herself with, she will reply by saying she is serving a debt known as life. She will, however, vigorously deny being poor, giving the following explanation. Beautiful veneers may obscure simple truths. Exquisite food may mask its nutritional value. One lives simply, all the better to expose this world's truths. A frugal lifestyle, therefore, is a form of training to access the truth. Or so Mona will insist. Teyvat is a place where people of all sorts go about their business, and even an enigmatic astrologist must look to hers. That said, it seems like bards might be the exception to this rule. So basically, all I got from this is that Mona is poor. Yep, I guess it's the one and only defining detail about her, nothing else. Story 1. Recently, Mona's teacher, an old but highly skilled female astrologist, has entrusted a very important task to her. Her teacher has an erstwhile rival friend in Mondstadt, and she wanted Mona to retrieve a highly confidential box from that person's successor. If you dare look inside that box, well, you'll see. That was the warning Mona received before departing. To Mona's surprise, the successor was none other than the Spark Knight Klee. The box was still intact, but due to Klee's actions and series of accidents, Mona unwittingly unraveled the enigma behind the box. I'm done for. The thing inside this was the dark history of her youth. She would kill me if I go back like this. Mona was thus forced to stay in Mondstadt, beginning a bitterly frugal but bountiful fulfilling existence. I did not expect Story 1 to be Mona's story quest. I guess my question about this is, why was there conveniently a house that only Mona can unlock in Mondstadt? I guess we'll never know. Story 2. Mona's astrology utilizes hydromancy, and she once explained the underlying principles thusly. It is people's fate that shines in the night sky, and though its reflection in water is but an illusion, it reveals the truth nonetheless. No one else can quite comprehend this principle, but Mona's ability convinces people to believe in it anyway, albeit sometimes grudgingly. Her astrological readings are exceptionally precise, and she will neither lie nor hold anything back when revealing the results of her readings. Your son says that he's made it. That's a lie. You've got no chance with him. In fact, he will leave you soon. The cold hard truth is laid before people's eyes, complete with all the grisly details that would rather remain buried. Mona will make no exception to this, and as such, she can seem completely lacking in human emotion. But sometimes, on a clear night, she can be seen on a high mountain slope. There, Mona gazes up at the stars in the sky, so close, she feels, that she can almost reach out and touch them, with gentle eyes humming an unknown tune to herself. In the Summertime Odyssey event, Mona's section of the story goes into more detail on this. If you missed out on it, then I recommend you watch a playthrough of it, because I think the story's pretty good. Story 3. Having never studied the art of finance, the astrologist Mona is always hovering around the poverty line. In order to save on food expenses, she once ate mushrooms for an entire month straight. If not for some relief funds coming from time to time, she would have had trouble eking out a living. Mona does in fact have some money set aside. Even though she must eventually run dry without an income, she can slow the bleeding by scripting in the food department. So where does the rest of the Mora go? Well, if you ever had a look inside her lab, then know that the big pile of astrology-related apparatus and tools in there didn't come out of thin air. In fact, all of them came from a hefty price tag. Books from Liyue, an astrolab from Sumeru. The shipping fees alone are impressive. That Mona should be in abject poverty comes, therefore, as no surprise. In order to support herself, Mona eventually took up commercial contract. Her contributions to a column about constellations in the Steambird have become her most stable income source. Now having a monthly income, Mona could have left her life of poverty. But how could an astrologer's pursuit of knowledge end here? Whenever she gets paid, Mona will immediately shell out more astrology-related resources, returning to a state of destitution once more. This process plays out every month. Today, too, is another day Mona worries over Mora. Wait, so she ate mushrooms for an entire month straight? Is that the reason why one of her essential materials are Philonemon mushrooms? Honestly, I don't know how to feel about that. Story 4. Mona was sometimes meet up with Clea and Albedo, her primary reason being to get a free meal. Secondary to that is to exchange pointers with Albedo. Since they are both people who seek to unveil the principles of the world and are accomplished students of famed masters, aligning themselves with one another and working together is perfectly normal. Mona staunchly defends her teacher's image in front of Albedo. However, she often complains about that old hag. You speak of your illustrious lineage, yet you also refer to your master as a hag and a stubborn dimwit. Which of these descriptions is accurate? Albedo could not help but ask this question, and when he did, Mona promptly realized that she had never given it much thought herself. Stroking her chin, she pondered this paradox deeply for a moment, before responding, The techniques passed down to me are exceptional, of course, but my teacher's not my equal. Does she know the market rates for eggs, butter, or wheat? In this regard, I have already far surpassed her. I like how Genshin doesn't even try to hide the fact that she's just there for food. I mean, free food is free food. Although, I wonder why we haven't seen any interaction between Mona and Albedo in any event so far. Story 5. During her apprenticeship, Mona found that the subtle abstractions of her master's teaching could explain the laws that govern the existence of all things. Human hearts were guided by these laws, and if one had great enough power of calculation, all the mysteries of the world could be understood. Mona once believed this to be true, but when she had to strike out on her own and live day to day, she found herself doubting. Not everyone lived wealthy and comfortable lives. Some neither had food nor warm clothes, living not differently from beggars. And it was just such an adventurer who, when meeting Mona while she was out looking for fruits and vegetables to fill her stomach, shared half their food with her. Out here, we've got to have each other's backs. This was not something inscribed on these so-called principles of the world, and many other such things she encountered on her journey. The honesty of a thief, a robber's change of heart, a coward's courage, the good deeds of a wicked person. Mona began to have some doubt, but she also felt like she finally had her feet on solid ground. When she was again alone with her thoughts under the stars, she marveled that her research had been so full of holes. Perhaps she would have to continue researching the world's principles for the rest of her life. I'm just gonna add this here, but I'm pretty sure that person who shared half of his food with her is the same person Mona was talking about in the Summertime Odyssey event, the dialogue of it shown here. Basically, in exchange for fruit, Mona performed a divination for him. The results were horrifying and she advised him to stop adventuring or he will die in 2 years. In the end, he ended up choosing to continue the path of an adventurer regardless of what's to come. This encounter with the adventurer is forever ingrained in Mona's memories. Dang, that's pretty sad. All Things Astrological. The Court of Fontaine's mainline newspaper, The Steambird, has many featured sections that contains all sorts of news and gossip drawn from every corner of the 7 nations. The section Mona contributes to is known as All Things Astrological, and is a column specifically targeted at hobbyists and professionals. That she had this opportunity at all was pure chance. When the previous contributing author was traveling the world, he heard tell of a strange astrologist, and his hobbyist curiosity compelled him to seek her out. Their correspondence left him deeply impressed. As it happened, he was also looking to retire, and seeing that Mona was strapped for Mora, reached out to help her by recommending her to the editor-in-chief of the Steambird. When Mona released her first column, An Introduction to Astrology, the column heretofore known for being easy reading experienced a massive shift in tone. Most of these issues was dedicated to discussing the movement of celestial bodies and other difficult and obscure topics, academic quotations, dense footnotes, and even the occasional hand-drawn star map abound in these writings. The editor-in-chief could not help but feel worried that this approach was too academic. Would it find acceptance with long-term readers? As it turned out, there was no need to fret. The publishing house received a great many letters that read something like this. Wow, this is amazing. I don't really get it, but this is super interesting. Consider me a fan of the astrologist Mona Magistus. After getting approval to continue submitting manuscripts, Mona could finally have a sigh of relief. Now, how best to celebrate? Ah, yes! Perhaps she should use her first paycheck to purchase the latest edition Planetarium she had her eye on for a while now. You know, Mona makes astrology look so cool, but sadly, I'm not really interested in it. Vision. To Mona, that her vision was sent to her from the gods doesn't mean a great deal. This is not to say that possessing external focus for elemental power is not useful. Having power is always a good thing, but when compared to lofty truth, material prowess is such a pathetically small concept. The gods too are bound by the rules for this world. Mona seeks the final truth of the world, hidden amidst the sea of stars. As such, she doesn't have any reverence for her vision, which the people of this world consider to be a sign of divine favor and the source of all power. Nonetheless, this item that serves no practical use in her hand is something that she treasures greatly. It was gifted to her by her teacher as a teaching aid, and it is the only evidence of their time together as master and pupil. She preserves this distant memory with great care. This exquisitely made teacher aid thus accompanied her everywhere, like an accessory worn by any other maiden, until one day, when the vision of her very own will quietly indwell this old teaching aid. Well, that's all there is to Mona's backstory. Honestly, this was pretty fun to read, not gonna lie. Honestly, I found it pretty cool that the Summertime Odyssey event went into way more detail into her struggles of being an astrologer. Also, Mona's not poor, she just has really bad spending habits like most Genshin players. Anyways, thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then like and subscribe. If you want to choose the next character to talk about, then leave a comment down below. Well, that's the video, goodbye!